Hello and welcome to the next unit of study, the most important unit that you're going to study in this Drafting Fundamentals course. This is the language that you must learn if you're going to have a career in drafting and design. You have to be able to speak and write the language and be able to interpret surfaces and edges. You'll be creating designs in a two-dimensional drafting setting, and many times do not have the object in your hands to work from, and you must generate it from your mind, from your mind's eye, as we call it. So you have to be able to see the shapes of the objects. It's a very personal internal skill, and the only way that we can verify that you know this skill is to have you go through multiple types of visualization and then drawing those shapes as they're supposed to look in a two-dimensional fashion. So those of us that work with drawings, it's a learned mental process that involves a spatial skill, we call it. And let me write that word on the paper. Spatial, S-P-A-T-I-A-L. It's a spatial skill. There is an area of the brain, of the human brain, that's about the size of a walnut that controls this ability to visualize forms that are part of a block, arrangement of shapes, and be able to unfold or see that in space, be able to tell the distance between objects, and quickly recognize and analyze those surfaces. In the study of orthographic projection, which orthographic means is a Greek word for writing at right angles. Ortho meaning right angles. Graphic comes from the word graphos, which it means to write. So we're projecting at right angles. We're learning to write at right angles or draw at right angles for our view. This creates true view, true projections of our objects, non-distorted, on our paper. So there's four types of surfaces: normal, inclined, oblique, and cylindrical. We're going to explore all of these in this introduction. So we could work about the process and begin to recognize these individual surfaces, and then how these surfaces intersect with one another and create various types of edges. And these edges also fall into basic, normal, inclined, and oblique edges. So we're going to spend about 4 chapters on this, learning the various surfaces and edges. So as it states here, and if you'll allow me to read to you this description, emphasis in the next 4 chapters will be placed on recognizing types of plane and curved surfaces in space. Only 3 types of plane or flat surfaces exist, but there's many types of curved surfaces: cylinders, cones, spheres, the torus. There's numerous types of surfaces, and I'll be demonstrating those to you in a later lecture. Okay? By recognizing each type of surface, rules may be applied to the appearance of the surface on drawings. I would add in a two-dimensional fashion, in a two-dimensional drawing. Visualizing objects is a process of assembling the individual surfaces into shapes and then into objects. Portions may be solved by following rules before the actual answer is apparent. Objects may be solved in much the same way a mathematical expression is solved. I cannot emphasize enough how much of an individual skill this is. Some of you have a knack or have a talent or an increased ability in the spatial world, in the spatial skills. Others of you that may be lacking in this, and you'll have to concentrate heavily on following rules to be able to create these two-dimensional views. Now, it may help if you go and purchase some clay and actually shape objects based on the two-dimensional drawing. So we'll kind of work from looking at a two-dimensional drawing and developing a model of it on paper, but we can also make it using clay. You can use a computer model, which you would have to have some training, of course, before you could do that. You can use the children's Lego blocks to make models of these basic shapes. You're not going to be able to create much but normal types of surfaces, though, with the Lego blocks. Now, this is very, very important. Seeing the answer from someone else destroys all chance to learn, for you to exercise your spatial ability, your skill. Problems at the end of each chapter are designed to develop these visualization skills. Work on each problem for a short time. If the answer is not apparent, come back to the problem later. And what I call this is the old saying, you can't see the tree for the woods. There's so much trees, I can't really tell where the woods is. Or some people say, I can't see the woods for the trees. Staring and working at some visualization project for a long time, sometimes you can just not be able to visualize anymore. It's a kind of a spatial overload that happens. So you'll need to allow yourself time and work on some of these, solve them as much as you can, and then come back to them, put them aside and work on another one to explore or exercise a different part of your brain, of your skill. Okay, that's all for the introduction, and we're going to begin looking at, in the next video, how we relate pictorials with an orthographic view.